Hello everyone, my name is Chris and this is the tank tier list for Season 7 of Overwatch 2. A very controversial character is going to be Reinhardt. If you take Reinhardt into consideration, you quickly realize that we are in sort of a brawl/poke meta composition where both teams are standing there trying to fight each other from the range, and sure, you're gonna have insane amounts of mitigated damage. Well, in reality, Season 7 really shows that damage is everything. You wanna be as deadly and as dominant as you possibly can on the battlefield. You wanna deny space from your enemies and be a threat. Reinhardt is none of the above. You can get easily countered by Orsia, and when I talk easily countered, I mean every single 10-year-old dude can take Orsia, and pressing random buttons, he's gonna completely deny your presence on the map. Ramattra can easily punch you off, and there is nothing you can do besides asking your team to swap the team comp and go for Mei, go for Bastion, go for Lucio, go for Bob. But in reality, even in Grandmaster lobbies, people usually never want to do that for you, and thus Reinhardt is a terrible choice in the current state of the game. When it comes to Doomfist, I have a very controversial opinion. I feel like with the rise of Season 7 and the popularity of Sombra that's been reworked lately, Doomfist has seen less and less playtime overall, because do you remember mid-Season 6 when out of the blue, Doomfist has gone from being one of the worst dive tanks to being one of the most popular and best choices for the current state of the game. Right now in Season 7 I see less and less Doomfist players because Orsia is still very present, and then Sombra is just super deadly. Hack, Virus, and you are almost dead from this combination if she can land a few shots on top of you. I still feel like Doomfist is a lot better than Reinhardt because you can deny space, you can pressure the backline. Killing the backline is just never an option because support power creep is real. You pretty much have the lineup of characters that all have the jail-free card, no matter what kind of abilities you use or how perfectly you execute your kit. Ana can nade herself, she can sleep you, and then you have something like Mercy that's just flying up in the air and you will never be able to catch her. There is Lucio that's just gonna slide away, and then many more characters that you have nothing to do with. So Doomfist can sometimes be good, while in reality he is very mediocre in the current state of the game. Also, he is super difficult to use and it will take you hundreds of hours to be somewhat good on a character. D.Va is going to be the first absolute meta character for today's day and age, but there is a catch. She is very mid when it comes to flat maps, but when you go for maps with high verticality, such as Paraíso, Numbani, Dorado, Watchpoint Gibraltar, and one of the points on Busan with high grounds, you quickly realize that D.Va is an exceptional choice. He can deny so many high grounds, he can pretty much completely devour every single hit scan character, and she can also play the whack-a-mole game where you are pretty much going for the target that's way out of position, and 3.5 seconds later you just use your thrusters to get back to your team or take the high ground or fly off the high ground. So the character is very versatile, very hard to kill if you learn how to play D.Va properly, as you always have a jail-free card with your ultimate. You can just press it when you are low HP and then quickly go behind the corner, try to remag, maybe you squash a person that's trying to rush you mindlessly, and it's just all very funny. One of my personal favorite characters, and in Season 6 of Overwatch 2 I had more than 70% win rate on D.Va. And if you compare that with my Doomfist win rate, it was about 42%. So yeah. Orsia is another absolute meta character for today's day and age. 5% reduction on her Fortify ability to block is pretty much nothing because you are still invulnerable, you are still invincible when it comes to every single meta pick, right? So people play Bastion, you don't care. You have Fortify, you have Spin, you have Javelin, you can always go back in the corner, you have a beautiful 1 versus 1 against Reinhardt, you have a beautiful 1 versus 1 against Doomfist. If they go D.Va on a flat map, just nothing to say there. Roadhog is suffering against you. You have a very neutral 1 versus 1 against Junker Queen and a neutral 1 versus 1 against Sigma, and even if they swap Zarya, you can count bubbles and just don't charge her. You don't charge her, count bubbles, and ask your team to shoot her together, and you'll be super surprised how powerful this character is. Orsia is a pretty high skill ceiling character. You need to learn how to land your left click, you need to learn how to go for the javelin, you need to use your spin and fortify in a correct manner and cycle them properly if you want to have any success. Well, in reality, she is still incredibly strong. Just a brick that stands there, denies space, and plays a whack-a-mole game just like D.Va, but in a stationary way. Wrecking Ball is a usually bad character, pretty easy to counter, as well as the fact that the best counter to Wrecking Ball is you being atrociously horrible on a character mechanically. You see, of course, you can be incredibly good at the character, you can have hundreds of hours and just slay noobs left and right, you can play around Sombras, you can play around Zenyatas, you can play around Orisas. Well, in reality, if you are a dude that's just trying to rank up as Wrecking Ball, you will see 35% win rate and no light at the end of the tunnel. This character is very difficult for the value that you can get out of him, and super easy to counter. Like, Sombra is being reworked, and people would love, even though they never played Sombra before, they're gonna be curious in their head, right? So like, what is gonna happen if I swap Sombra to counter Wrecking Ball? How is that gonna be funny, right? And you will see that every single game, man, every single game. And if you're not accurate enough, if you are not good enough, you're gonna get hacked, you're gonna get booped, you're gonna get antied, slapped, pretty much every crowd control ability. And the higher you climb, the more people are gonna be coordinated to completely deny your presence and kill all the fun that you've had on Wrecking Ball. Winston is just a terrible character in Season 7 of Overwatch 2. I personally have never played a single game with a successful Winston, whether it would be on the enemy team or on my team. One good fight, I swear to God, one good fight, and they swap Reaper, Bastion, and D.Va. One good fight. Oh my... This is so painful beyond belief. Winston is one of my favorite tanks in the game, but I just can't use him. I can't. One character, one brain dead character, can completely deny all the presence that you have. Not only that, but you have one of the highest skill floor, skill ceiling ultimate abilities in the game. The highest one is gonna be Tracer Pulse Bomb, and then your Primal Rage. Usually dudes are pressing it as a jail free card and never get a single kill with a rebound. I would also want to go to like Season 5, where you have Tracer, Sombra, Winston, Ana, Brig, and I would say that this was one of my favorite dive metas that you can possibly have. Well, in reality, you're just never gonna have fun playing Winston. Completely terrible, way out of meta, super easy to counter, a lot easier than Reinhardt in terms of countering, right? You just play Bastion, you kill the bubble in a blink of an eye, and then by the time Winston jumps off, he's already half HP, and perhaps your second DPS can finish him off or something like that. As well as the fact that they can just swap Brig and you're gonna be completely useful. Or useless, I mean. What are you gonna do there? Nothing. Character is just completely terrible. On the other hand, Zarya is a very strong choice in the current state of the game, very nice against meta tanks such as Orisa and D.Va. She can be pretty good into Doomfist, she can be pretty good into Wrecking Ball, as you can just completely deny their dive options, right? You just bubble your teammate and get free charge, as well as your teammates are alive and safe. This is gonna be completely pathetic to play on the other hand, where you are going against a coordinated stack that counts your bubbles, and you're going against a coordinated stack that shoots you when you are out of bubbles. And again, the lower you go, the more efficient Zarya is gonna be, but anywhere from like high masters, I would say that she falls off in terms of her ability to solo carry games. People will rarely charge you, people will know how many bubbles you have left and when to shoot you, people will swap Bastion to completely devour you if you are out of position, and there are many ways that you can counter her, but in reality she's still incredibly powerful. Season 7 got her a little nerf when they reverted the changes with 15% bubble increase on teammates and then 25 additional HP on that, but it's still 8 seconds. Although I feel like you either have to play with a teammate that's gonna go in order for you to be useful, right? So you have a Reaper that goes in and you bubble him, or you have a Bastion with the turret form and you let him go in front of you so you can charge your charge, right? And then or you just bubble yourself and lose all the perks. So Zarya is pretty strong in Season 7. Another very strong character in Season 7 is going to be Sigma. Very interesting. I would never thought that Sigma can be useful outside of Havana, Circuit Royale and Junkertown. Well, in reality, I've played a few games on him and he is nice. I played him on Suravasa, the 3-point control map, or how many points is that? 5 points. And then wow, he felt amazing. My DPS weren't cooking, but I was certainly cooking. You have insane amounts of like you have insane ability to block damage, you have insane ability to deny presence, you can deny high grounds, your flux is a super nice ability, you can get like a few kills with it every single time. If you can land your rocks, that's gonna be amazing and beautiful as well, and you can just protect your teammates, and this is very, very important. Like, I would imagine if you are playing with a team composition that likes to do that, right? Like you play with Hanzo, maybe you play with like Bastion. Imagine you go for a turret form and there is a shield in front of you. Imagine how much nicer it would be in comparison with Doomfist, playing with Doomfist or stuff like this. You don't care about Bastion, you don't care about Genji, you don't care about... who else is there? You don't care about Torb, you don't care about Widowmaker. Like, these characters never bother you, as well as the fact that you have decent 1v1s against pretty much every single tank in the game makes Sigma a very nice and strong choice for today's day and age. Roadhog is just not the character that I would want to see in my team personally. Every single time I play Roadhog, people ask me to swap. Every single time I play Roadhog, people swap Ana, people swap Zenyatta, people swap Orsia versus me, and my life turns into a complete void, despair, misery, and self-sacrifice. The fact that you have terrible 1v1s against pretty much every single tank in the game, outside of like Doomfist maybe, makes your character very, very bad. You know, your ultimate is not as good as it would want to be, and the heal is easily countered by Ana anti or Junker Queen ultimate. You have a very big body and people will just charge off their ultimate off of you pretty easily, and there is just nothing you can do with it. Oh my god, we are still waiting for the mid-season 7 rework of Roadhog. I'm very curious to see how they will tackle the current problem, because if you want to make him overpowered, just return his one-shot combo and everyone is gonna be so afraid to get in the range of his hook, because like, yeah, you get hooked, you die, nothing you can do, right? And then if he is not one-tapping everyone, then he is just completely useless. Even if you give him like 4 more ammo in his mag, it's still gonna be terrible. There is just nothing you can do to save the day. Roadhog is just terrible. We are still waiting for the rework. Ramattra is gonna go in a sometimes good category. I feel like character has gone from being an absolute meta in season 5 to slowly falling off with the Bastion changes, because let's be honest, even if you power block, there is nothing you can do against that turret form. It's just completely terrible. You have a terrible 1v1 versus Orsia, you have nothing to do on sniper maps where Sigma belongs, and then on maps with verticality, you're gonna get outperformed by D.Va because she can always fly to your supports and kill them for free, and you will never be able to peel for them. So the character could have been so much better, but unfortunately he is sometimes good category. He's got a recent buff lately, but in reality it never changed anything. You are terrible versus Queen, you are terrible versus dive tanks, you are terrible versus Orsia, and then you have a mediocre 1v1 against Zarya. Nothing you can do, sometimes good tier. And the last character for today's list is going to be Junker Queen. And I'm actually very biased, and I would wanna place her in an absolute meta category because I absolutely love playing Junker Queen, but I would say that she is pretty strong in the current state of the game. I would certainly want to have a Junker Queen in my team rather than Sigma or Zarya, because wow, she is just incredibly strong, and the fact that you don't care about the meta DPS, you don't care about Soldier, you don't care about Hanzo is not a meta DPS, but that doesn't matter. You don't care about Bastion, you don't care about Echo, you don't care about pretty much anything because you have a slim body and your damage output is so freaking nice. It's actually crazy. If you can land your knives and go for the combo and just completely deny like the enemy tank presence, it can be amazing. You have a nice 1v1 against Ramattra, you are decent against Orsia, you are decent against Sigma, you are pretty nice against Zarya. Doomfist is struggling tremendously, Wrecking Ball is struggling tremendously, Roadhog is struggling, Reinhardt is a little bit debatable, but you can still make it work. Junker Queen is just an amazing character. Make sure that you ask your teammates to go Kiriko, because Ana will have a hard time healing you, because you want to go in and out, and then you have a slim body that wants to get healed, and Kiriko is gonna be the best choice here. So this is gonna be it for today's tier list. A very interesting one. I would never thought I would place certain characters up that high and then others super low, but hopefully I explained everything in details. Thank you very much for watching the video. See you in the next one. Take care.